2020 is just around the corner, which means it's time to talk about some horror movies that we watched in 2019. First, I'd like to welcome back Thor, who's been absent from the channel for the last couple of videos. Welcome back, Thor.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Very happy to have you back. Now, 2019 has been a pretty solid year for horror movies. We had smaller indie fare, like the Eli Roth produced movie Haunt. We also had some bigger studio efforts, like Tom Hooper's Cats. Hands down the most terrifying horror movie of the year. I mean, I was just absolutely terrified by that movie, like every single second.
You guys knew that joke was coming.
Mm-hmm.
It was a total catastrophe. But what did you guys think of 2019 overall?
I think it was really well balanced. You had a lot of movies that were, Oscar caliber, amazing acting, amazing production, amazing writing, really, really deep and multi-leveled. And then you had a lot that were just a lot of fun. And you didn't have to really worry about a deeper message. You just were on for the ride and let's have fun.
Yeah.
Kim, what did you think?
I totally agree with Thor. And then you also had a few movies in there that got thrown in there that seemed like it was pretty rushed. That could have done a lot better. Horrible acting and stuff like that.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I always enjoy it when we drag Thor to see a really terrible horror movie.
God.
Because I'm not gonna lie. Like when
that's part of the reason why you guys haven't seen me. I've been avoiding that. Thank you, work.
Well, thankfully,
thank you so much.
Thankfully, we've had some really good horror releases recently.
Yes.
No, definitely.
But today, we're here to talk about some of our favorites. What we're going to do is we're going to each have 5 picks. Mm-hmm. Some might be very similar, so if that happens, we'll just talk about them at the same time. Mm-hmm. And it's been a pretty good year for our channel, too. Of course, we're constantly evolving, constantly making changes. For those who are new to our channel, these are some of the props that we use in other videos. We have Sam's mask from Trick or Treat. We have Georgie's boat, which we use in our It Chapter 2 review. We have the Pennywise plush doll, which we use in our It review. And then this stack of skulls, which has been in a lot of our videos.
For fun.
But,
skulls.
Yeah. But let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and start with my number 5 pick, which is, of course, the Universal Studios movie Cats, directed by Tom Hooper.
Oh my god.
Okay, one time was enough. Let's
All right, my real number 5 pick is actually Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
That's on my list too.
It sounds as if me and Thor have the same pick. So, let me get into why I really like this movie real quick. So, I was kind of on the fence before this movie came out. We had the Goosebumps movie in 2015 with Jack Black, which I thought was pretty mediocre. But, honestly, this movie really pushed the boundaries of what a kid horror movie can be. There were a lot of very intense sequences of the movie. I loved all the creature designs ripped straight from the novel.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, just the overall feel of the movie. Like, I loved that they set it in an earlier decade. It's set in one of my all-time favorite decades, which is the 1960s. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, it was just a lot of fun.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was my number 3 pick because you definitely got... Guillermo del Toro is one of my favorite directors. If his name is on a movie, I'm there. And I'm hugely into the prosthetic arts and the fact that pretty much all of this stuff that they could do as prosthetics, they did do as prosthetics. It was real, it was visceral, it was there. Mm-hmm. The sequences were incredibly intense, even for adults. Mm-hmm. And it really tapped into those things that as a child you were afraid of. And honestly, they're when you're alone at home and you're alone and you get that little tickle up the back of your neck, you rush down the hallway just a little bit quicker, not looking behind you in order to get into a room with a light switch on, or you're nervous about turning the light switch on. That never really left us. And Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark really, really tapped into all of that.
Kim, what is your number 5 pick?
My number 5 pick was actually Ready or Not.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready. Let's talk about it.
Ready or Not was I know it was really hard, but Ready or Not was my number 5 pick. It was a really good, really fun movie, to be honest. Like they kind of mixed in some of the comedy relief in there, and just the overall story that they came along totally surprised me. It wasn't what I was expecting it to be, and I liked the way it was just. I like the way the movie was.
Ready or Not's on my list too.
What number is it for you?
Number 2.
Thor, tell
What
us
is
your
it
thoughts
for
on
you?
It's not.
What?
We'll get into
Oh
why
my
later.
God.
But Thor, why don't you tell us why you loved Ready or Not?
It was smart.
Okay.
One of my biggest pet peeves, as anybody who's watched any of the videos that I've been on knows, I hate stupid characters. I mean, put yourself into certain situations and you might have a stupid moment or two, but when you have just dumb characters, it's just, ugh. I liked that she was smart.
Mm-hmm.
She was wise. Mm-hmm. She did not take too long. Oh no, this is not happening. She immediately accepted the reality and went forward with it.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the storyline. I mean, even today, we still debate what could have happened
exactly
at the end of that if certain things have changed. So it's like, when you have a movie that still makes you question, that is a good movie, hands down.
Or you sit there and you think about it in the aspect of, you can look at different endings for that movie, and it still would have came out brilliant.
Oh yeah.
We had a few movies this year inspired by popular games or activities. There was Ready or Not. There was Escape Room. Obviously, Ready or Not was a better film.
Oh God, yes.
Oh yes.
And
it was
Samara.
Yes, I know you're gonna give me crap for not having Ready or Not, but I think you'll be pleased further down the line when I tell you my other picks. Thor. What was your number 5 pick?
My number 5 pick, believe it or not, even though this is an epic movie, it was excellently shot, excellently done. It was really, really intense. And this was a really intense year for me. So I kind of went towards the lighter fares, the ones that I enjoyed more of the escapism. So my number 5 pick was Midsummer.
Oh, man.
Okay. And I'm not going to lie, Midsommar was my number 2 pick.
So,
Thor.
And Midsommar was my honorable mention.
So, Thor, let's talk about why we liked Midsommar so much.
It was daring.
Mm-hmm.
Here you have a horror movie where you could see the bad stuff coming. The light was used as a character just as much as the shadow is in normal horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
It was part of it. It made it terrifying.
It was a complete switch from director Ari Aster's last movie, which was Hereditary. Hereditary, much of that film is set during the evening, so there's a lot of darks and a lot of shadows in Hereditary, The majority of Midsommar is set during the day. Like almost every scene, it's brightly lit, and it just really makes you feel uneasy because it's not the usual atmosphere for a horror movie. Midsommar reminded me a lot of the original Wicker Man.
Oh, yes.
Having to do with this crazy foreign cult that pretty much just wants to kill you.
Yeah.
But there were just several sequences in this movie that just really got under my skin, particularly the moment where the elderly couple commits suicide from the cliff. And you see it in great detail. Like, you see just...
Oh, no. That was really
intense.
You see his face smash, like when he lands on the boulder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ari Aster does not pull any punches.
He really doesn't.
No,
I like that. And it was really, really, I mean, they really played homage to the culture and some of the stuff, not the culture as it is now, but the culture in ancient times were doing that thing where at certain times, if you were one of the elders and the village was suffering, you would go up to a cliff and you would kill yourself because, you couldn't help out the village in a more honorable way. Mm-hmm. So it was actually, wrapped in with that whole Norwegian culture. And it was just, they played so much attention to so many little things. Mm-hmm. I went back and watched it again. And did you notice that if you looked at that, I guess, tapestry or whatever it was at the beginning, it told you the whole plot.
Yeah, I did.
He revealed everything about it if you just looked at the details.
And Florence Pugh was astounding in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
But Midsommar...
Although the dude was a jerk and you kind of were happy that he got stuffed into, spoiler, a bear and lit on fire.
Yes. Mm-hmm. With his genital areas outside. Got what he deserved.
Yeah, I would say Midsommar.
He was kind of a jerk.
Midsommar had some balls.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on to number 4. So my number 4 pick is a movie that we haven't discussed yet. Mm-hmm. It features
mine.
It features quite possibly my favorite Bill Murray cameo of all time, and my number 4 pick is Zombieland Double Tap.
Yay! Believe it or not, Zombieland Double Tap is not on my top 5. It's an honorable mention for me.
Same with me too.
That just makes me feel dead inside. Okay. Zombieland Double Tap. We had to wait 10 years for a sequel to Zombieland to come out, and between movies, like all these actors had starred in these Academy Award-winning films. Emma Stone had won an Academy Award for La La Land. The director, Ruben Fleischer, went on to do the comic book movie Venom, which I wasn't really a big fan of. So I was a little bit worried that they wouldn't be able to recapture the magic with Zombieland Double Tap. But I just have to say, this movie had the same anarchic spirit as the first film.
Yeah, it did.
And, the cast still has great chemistry. And
Yes.
the one actress, I can't remember what her character's name was. The blonde.
Madison!
I
love Madison!
She was a terrific addition to the Zombieland ensemble.
Oh my
and
God, she was funny. I lie. Usually characters like that annoy me to no end, but she just played it so straight
Yes.
that you couldn't help but be charmed by her.
Yeah, and it's not the first Zombieland movie. It's not superior, but it's certainly not bad.
No.
I thought there were some fun additions, especially to the zombie mythos. I love the idea of the Terminator zombie, which is just really hard to kill. But I had a blast with Zombieland Double Tap.
Oh,
yeah, no,
totally.
definitely.
Kim, why don't you give us your number 4 pick?
My number 4 pick was one that we haven't mentioned either.
Oh,
In this
we're on
one.
a trend.
We're trending.
This one is my favorite because it was a remake to a classic
Oh no.
Stephen King movie.
Okay.
And it was Pet Sematary.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You know what? I have to say, I did an entire video about the ending of the 2019 Pet Sematary. I thought it was better than the original novel. You can all hate me if you
definitely
want.
agree.
Oh no, it was so much darker.
Originally when I watched this film, I thought this film was not going to live up to, just like any remake I go into, I'm always just thinking, the original's going to be better. But
Right.
this one just took me by surprise on how well it was. I love that they went a different direction, and it didn't feel like it was a total remake, but a total different story that they were trying to go with. I love that it wasn't, like you were sitting there thinking it was going to be, spoiler alert, that it was going to be Gage that was going to die, but it ends up being Ellie.
Yeah, and I've heard some complaints that, by having it be Ellie, it takes away some of the raw emotional intensity.
No,
I personally disagree because,
no.
even in the novel, Ellie was the one asking about death. She was the one who was very fearful of death. Of course, it's shocking when Gage dies because he's the youngest in the family, but I thought it brought Ellie's arc full circle. Like what they did in the 2019
And I'm sorry,
film.
anybody who's saying that they think that it lacks the emotional punch because Gage didn't die has never been a parent.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if your child is an adult, if your child is a teenager, or a child is a baby. It gut punches you no matter who it is to have that child die, and to die in such a way. No.
I just felt like when
anybody who says that is wrong.
I just felt like when I watched that scene, and as a parent myself, it literally brought chills to my skin. Wow, this is
one of the better Stephen King adaptations in recent years. You think?
And yeah,
yes, definitely.
and I do have to say with that, the fact that they pulled that bait and switch on us, where you knew it was Gage, you were tensing up during the party, you knew it was going to be him, you were, and then it misses him, and you're like, whoa, wait, and then you see Ellie there.
I will say,
yeah.
if they hadn't revealed that twist in the trailer, I think it would have had more of a
I
punch.
didn't
But
see
still, I thought they did a really good job with it. Thor is your number 4 pick, a movie that we haven't talked about yet.
It is a movie we haven't talked about, and I don't even know if you guys have seen it.
I can't wait.
Oh.
It is a movie starring the very talented, the very amazing, and quickly becoming the best horror actress so far, Lupita Nyong'o. However, it is not us. She was in another independent horror movie. It was more like a horror comedy called Little Monsters.
Oh, I've been meaning to watch that. That also has Josh Gad in it, right?
Yes, and it is hilariously wonderful. So if you guys liked Evil Dead, if you guys liked any of the Shaun of the Dead, if you guys liked any of those kind of zombie comedy, but a lot of emotional weight to it as well, definitely watch Little Monsters. You can watch it on Hulu for free right now, so go check it out. But basically, you have Lupita Nyong'o as a kindergarten teacher with her kids on a field trip when a zombie outbreak breaks out, and she is usually this just very happy playing the ukulele type kindergarten teacher, and now she has to take on hordes of the undead to save her kindergarten class. And it is amazing.
That's very interesting.
I really want to see that. I
Same.
think Lupita is an amazingly talented actress, and just the fact that she plays this badass zombie butchering kindergarten teacher. I mean,
the entire time. If you've seen it, the entire time she's in this bright, like yellow dress.
Mm-hmm.
She's just at first just really happy and everything else like that, like the quintessential the quintessential kindergarten teacher. And when the zombies come out, you see kind of a different side to her. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to wreck it for you guys because this is the one time, usually I don't care about spoilers. This is the one time I want you guys to watch it and die laughing because it's that good.
I'll have to check it out. You said it was on Hulu?
Yeah, you can watch it for free on Hulu right now.
Oh,
right.
Dude, keep it up.
Well, I'm going to move on to my number 3 pick, which is a film that I don't think either of you have seen, but I definitely saw it, and I saw it with a good friend of mine, and we were both trembling in our seats during almost the entire movie. And my number 3 pick is the A24 film, The Lighthouse, directed by the amazing Robert Eggers. Okay, real quick, I told this.
With Willem Dafoe is creepy.
I told this story in our Lighthouse review, but after we saw the movie, there were people just running from the theater because this movie was just so unsettling. Like, basically the idea is that you have these two men who are constantly challenging each other's masculinity. It deals a lot with that. Both Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson are just terrific in this movie. Like, Robert Pattinson especially. Like, I know you have a soft spot for our Pats,
yeah.
But yeah. And it is kind of a slow burn, but the entire time there's just this feeling you get. And of course, people are going to make jokes about this movie. It's the one where, spoilers, Robert Pattinson fucks a mermaid, which does happen, but...
Okay, is it a mermaid or is it
it's a mermaid.
A seal that he thinks is a mermaid?
It's a mermaid.
How does that work?
You'd have to watch the movie. It's like The Shape of Water, but in black and white. But anyway, and a lot of it, the third act especially, like, does get a little bit ambiguous. Like, it doesn't give you all the answers, which I actually really respected. It reminded me of a Stanley Kubrick film, something like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Okay. But The Lighthouse, I thought was just a very visceral experience. I cannot wait to see what this director does next. I hope he sticks with the horror genre. But The Lighthouse, I didn't like quite as much as The Witch, but it was a pretty terrifying time.
Okay, so Josh, I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Above or below Antichrist?
You're really going to ask me that?
Yes, I am.
You're going to ask me, oh my God, if it was better than Lars
von
Trier's Antichrist?
No, not better, just disturbing level. Because that's kind of like my penultimate when it comes to disturbing.
I mean, Willem Dafoe doesn't get his testicles smashed in The Lighthouse, although he may as well. Although he may as well have. But
may as well have.
I don't.
So not physically, but emotionally, he is emasculated.
I don't talk about Lars von Trier if I can help it. But that was my number 3 pick. Just a heads up, we already talked about my number 2 pick, which was Midsommar. So after they reveal their number 3 picks, I'm gonna go ahead and go with some honorable mentions. But Kim, what was your number 3 pick?
My number 3 pick, and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to have this one on your list, but it was one that I didn't see in theaters, but I did see when it hit Redbox and was very, very pleased with the film, and it was the movie Us.
What? Number 3? Are you crazy?
Let's hold off because I know we have some things to say, but Kim, I'll just let you talk about Us. Hey, it's on her list.
Hey, it's on there.
It's okay.
Kim, tell us about Us.
Well,
tell us.
So when I first watched it,
Get out. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. No, it was honestly, it was really hard because Us was a really good film, and doing my list, it was hard, but yes, it is number 3 on my list. It's still in my top 5, but it's pretty much this movie that Jordan Peele did, and I like the concept of the film being, it did confuse me at first. So I like the fact that it did keep me on edge on my seat throughout the whole movie, like, where are they going with this? The fact that it basically based off of this little girl who goes into this house, like this house, haunted house,
fun house, whatever.
Yeah. And she pretty much sees herself, and then the fact that herself pretty much comes back and haunts her was interesting. And then the way the movie just ended right there at that one particular.
I have some more things to say about Us. I'm sure Thor does as well, but we'll get to it. Do you have anything else that you wanted to say?
I just like the overall concept and the ending. And with me, when it comes to any horror movie, if it doesn't have a predictable ending, I really like it. I really enjoy it. But overall, it kept me really entertained.
Well, Thor, why don't you hit us with your number 3 pick?
My number 3 and my number 2 have already been mentioned, and that's number 3 was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and number 2 was Ready or Not.
Did you have anything more that you wanted to say about either of those titles?
Well, with Ready or Not, I think we already talked about how it was smart, it was daring, it had a little bit of that Clue vibe, but one of the things that we talked about later that I don't think we mentioned on our review, and I started thinking about this later, was the whole Greek tragedy of it. Mm-hmm. It was almost like the maids were like the Greek chorus, and they were killing them off. But also the fact that here they were trying to prevent their own end, and by trying to prevent it, they ensured it. Mm-hmm. And it was just that twist that I found really, really unique. And I'd like to see more people start maybe looking to the past in a way different than what they've been doing. Not stealing from the past, but allowing the past to kind of reawaken those archetypes that will always have a place in our minds. Always have that reptilian part of our brain go, no. Mm-hmm. And I think both Scary Stories and Ready or Not did that for us this year. Mm-hmm.
So I already mentioned my number 2 pick. Do you guys have a number 2 pick that we haven't talked about yet?
I do. And you guys are going to be...
If you rated it, but we're going to be mad because you rated anything above us anyway.
I know how you guys feel about this film.
Oh, God.
I really enjoyed it. It was a fun film. But it was... Happy Death Day to You. Okay.
Okay, now I will say Happy Death Day to You was on my honorable mention list, but how can you put that above us?
Because I really enjoyed how fun it was. Yeah, like I don't know. I've mentioned in my review that
I'm just gonna let you talk.
Yeah, me too.
that I don't I didn't get how they rated it under a horror genre because it was like the first half of it maybe had a little bit of horror when you look at it, but then at a certain point it became like a sci-fi. Yeah, but it was still really fun.
I'm not saying it wasn't really fun. I agree with you. It was a good movie. It was a fun movie, but for the reason why you just said, I couldn't put it high up because
it
wasn't a horror movie to me. I agree with you.
There's a time and a place for right opinions, but unfortunately, this isn't one of those times. How did you put Happy Death Day to You above us?
I'm sorry. I love the girl in Happy Death Day to You, but she is nowhere near Lupita Nyong'o.
Okay, look,
I liked the movie, but there was no way that it was anywhere artistically. Script-wise, acting-wise, anything, even in the arena of us.
Okay, me and Thor are coming down on Kim really hard. We
love you. We just want to help you not be wrong.
We don't want to sound like a couple of elitists. So, Kim, you really liked Happy Death Day to You. I will respect that.
I will.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Happy Death Day to You?
Besides, it was a really fun film. It was interesting just seeing the storyline go from, like I said, it went from horror to sci-fi. And yeah, maybe I probably shouldn't have ranked it up to 2 for it being not so much horror.
It's okay.
It's okay.
But we forgive you.
But yeah, I mean,
5 Hail Marys and an absolution, and you're joking.
No,
I'm joking.
5 viewings of Us, not 5 Hail Marys, but okay. Yes.
Mortal sins, dude. Come on.
Okay. Number 2 for you is Happy Death Day to You. Okay.
Happy Death Day to You was on my honorable mentions list. I totally agree with you. It was a very fun movie. I liked seeing more of Tree. Mm-hmm. I think that actress has a lot of roadway in front of her. She's funny. She has great comedic timing. She's able to handle the spazzing out without it being too much. To where it's like Jim Carrey, but just enough to where you're able to laugh and enjoy it and be going, yeah, that would be me if I was there.
Yeah.
So she's very relatable, and I really liked her, and I really did like the movie.
I wasn't a fan. It really wasn't.
Well, in this case, well, and she was wrong to put it above us, and in this case, you're wrong.
All right, so before we get to our number one picks, we're going to have a couple of honorable mentions. So I'll just list my 3 honorable mentions real quick. Pet Sematary, Brightburn.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yep. I did see that one still.
A very eerie take on the whole Superman mythology. I thought Brightburn was one of the more underrated films of the year. And my final honorable mention would be Ready or Not.
Well, that should have been on the top. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, what were your honorable mentions, Kim?
My honorable mentions, this is hard, but yes, Midsommar did make it on my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and Zombieland Double Tap.
Okay. So my 3 honorable mentions were Zombieland 2, Double Tap, Happy Death Day to You, and Crawl.
Oh my god, okay, no, I don't need to relive Crawl.
Crawl was fun!
If you saw our review Crawl, you'll know that I have a pretty big fear of alligators and crocodiles, so I'm just gonna...
And I get that, and that was what part of me, part of what made it fun.
I'm gonna crawl.
What happened to the alligator? We need him on the table at this point.
I'm gonna crawl away from this video now.
But in all seriousness, Krull was a great summer flick, a great summer horror movie. There was no deeper meaning to it other than the alligators were hungry and they were convenient. It was a gigantic alligator, no mutant alligator, nothing like that. Just straight man versus nature. They didn't draw it out. They didn't make it into anything else. They didn't give the girls superhuman abilities or there was some kind of, he stepped on their nest and so they're coming to get him. None of that. And I liked that for what it was. It was straight adrenaline fun and it was just, that's all it was. It was fun.
Okay, so I think we should start with Kim's number 1. We've talked about some really good films here tonight, but Kim, why don't you go ahead and hit us with your number 1 horror movie of 2019?
All right, my number 1 for the 2019, and this was definitely, it actually surprised me that it made it on my number 1, but it's going to be It Chapter 2.
What?
Are you serious?
Hold on.
It's just the 2 versus the 1. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a fun movie. It was good. But it just, I mean, some of the other stuff that happened this year, there was just...
Hold on. Okay, this is Kim's time to talk.
It is.
We've already given her enough crap. So, Kim.
We've already given Kim enough crap about her terrible bad taste.
Look, It Chapter 2, I know you're really big. No. It Chapter 2, I know you're a really big Stephen King fan. Why don't you tell us why you liked It Chapter 2 so much?
Why I liked It Chapter 2 was because I liked the direction they went with it. Like, it was, I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, I still really love the original It with Tim Curry as Pennywise. That one's always going to be my favorite. But the reason I like this one so much was, I don't know, it just went into more depth that we didn't get in the original, that it kind of took us like one of the ones that I really enjoyed that they did mention that was in the book was Richie's character being
gay.
Mm-hmm.
You can say it.
They really developed that in this movie. And, all the adult actors I thought were fantastic, especially Bill Hader. Mm-hmm. Bill Hader honestly stole the entire movie.
A lot of amazing actors. And I love the fact that they just meshed so well with the children actors. Mm-hmm. Like, you have James Ransone.
Yeah.
You have James McAvoy. And then,
Lots
of course,
of
I love Bill Hader.
Of course. He was amazing.
And Jessica Chastain.
The thing that I really liked about that movie, even though it didn't really make my list, was the chemistry between the adult actors was just so similar to the chemistry with the younger actors.
Yes. And then... The only thing that did bother me was that we could have seen more of the adult than, which is what we did mention this in our Chapter 2 review, was that they showed a lot more of the children, which we got from It Chapter 1, which I thought they should have went into more with the adult. But overall, it was still a really good film. I loved it. still the original is my favorite, but
We are still definitely waiting for the announcement. The director of the film promised that he would release a supercut with deleted scenes, the storyline with Beverly's husband, a bunch of that stuff, and both movies together. He said it in an interview. We're waiting.
Personally, I thought there were some things they could have done better. I think the overall tone could have been a bit more serious. There was that one bit in the middle where James Ransone is getting puked on by this
that was
corpse,
unnecessary.
They play the song.
Just call me Angel.
They play the Deadpool song Angel of the Morning, and especially the climax where
they tease him to death.
They basically defeat Pennywise by bullying him. And I just thought it could have been a lot stronger. I thought there were things they could have done better with, but I will respect your decision. I
won't. I'll give you crap about it. You know me.
Well, me and Thor are gonna ascend to our
number one pick.
Number one pick.
3, 2, 1. Us.
Okay, real quick.
We did not practice that at all. We just know each other.
We did not do a full-length review of Us, so we haven't gotten to talk about it in detail. I know I did a brief summation of the 2019 movies I had seen up until I think the month of June. So I talked about it briefly there, but I'll just say it again. Us, this really isn't a movie to take literally. I know there are a lot of people frustrated with the plot of this movie because they didn't understand the premise. They didn't understand how all this could possibly happen. But for me, it was much more about the ideas that were in place. Oh, yeah. Just the fact that there are these underground doppelgangers just preparing to essentially take over the world, and just the idea that you are your worst enemy and you're constantly at war with yourself, I thought was brilliant. One of my favorite scenes of the year was the moment where Elizabeth Moss's family gets attacked and they start playing Fuck the Police by NWA.
The worst Hey Google scene in the world.
But Jordan Peele,
call the police. Okay, fuck the police.
But Jordan Peele is on a roll.
No, don't do that.
Oh my God, Google actually listened.
Google, don't listen to me. Don't call anybody.
But Jordan Peele has been on a roll, and I know this wasn't as loved by mainstream audiences as something like Get Out, but I just thought it was a really brilliant horror film. And I'll take something original and slightly sloppy over another studio sequel, something like The Conjuring 3. I'll take something that's innovative and clever over something that's just recycled.
I think that Us was really, really impactful to me because Jordan Peele's a genius when it comes to so many things that are necessary to have that epic, classic masterpiece horror movie. Mm-hmm. The way he frames his shots, the way he plays with light and shadow, the way he does foreshadowing for pretty much everything. Yeah. The way how there is not one thing in there that is not purposeful. Even to the point where you have the mom that's snapping off beat because she has no soul. Mm-hmm.
There were some very clever touches.
It was just really, he's just really, really thoughtful about every single thing. And when you're that thoughtful, you're able to bring out a lot more. Like the idea, underground, subconscious, the id, that's your worst enemy. That coming out and taking over will destroy you, will destroy the world around you. Your disconnection from yourself, from others, will be what ends the world. And he had a lot to say in this. That wasn't supposed to be taken literally about people eating raw bunnies. As much as we give you crap about the whole Us thing, Kim, I think it's really interesting, and it really speaks well of the amount and the types of horror that we've gotten this year. That pretty much all of our lists are pretty much, they're 90% the same. We may have liked movies at a different level, like we loved Us. You had it a little bit further down. He loved Midsummer. I had it a little bit further down. We had this great play, but at the same time, we all kind of agreed this was a great year.
Mm-hmm. It was. And we're still new as a channel, and even to hit like 200 subscribers, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but to us it really is, because we work really hard on all of our videos, and we really love what we do. We love talking about horror movies, and even the bad ones, there can be some enjoyment. Mm-hmm. But 2020 is looking to be a very exciting year.
Yes, it is.
Gretel and Hansel.
Yeah. Is that your
The
most
turning.
anticipated?
That is one of my most anticipated because the whole idea of returning to the Grimm's fairy tale, not Disneyfying it, not turning it into something for Heath Ledger, God rest his soul, and who was the other dude in that? Matt Damon to
Oh, you're talking about the Brothers Grimm?
Yeah, to play swashbuckling with. But to get into the Grimm's fairy tales had so many just terrifying stories, and to see people again, it's that taking the past and actually seeing what they were trying to say with it, rather than let's try and package this up as marketable as possible.
Kim, what's your most anticipated horror movie of 2020?
Right now, I got a couple. One of them's gonna be The Turning, which is gonna be for next month.
Yes.
So I am very, very excited for that one.
Not The Grudge.
Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah.
Okay, to the dude who's doing The Grudge, who just was that interview today.
It was in a magazine I read. Apparently, he is dropping a lot of the Japanese connections, and he's putting a more American spin on the Grudge story.
The only way The Grudge worked was when it was the movie Ju-on. The reason why it was scary was because of the Japanese connections. I really hope that this next year, horror movie makers realize that what makes the movie scary, especially if you're taking something cultural like Ju-on, like La Llorona, what makes it scary is those cultural aspects.
Absolutely.
Don't whitewash it.
And we'll be talking about The Grudge, I believe, next week. I think it comes out next week.
Yeah, it does. January 3rd.
Let's see. My most anticipated horror movie of 2020. I got a couple in mind. There's a movie called Antlers coming out, directed by Scott Cooper. I think that looks kind of intriguing. James Wan is also returning with an original horror movie called Malignant. I don't know anything about it so far, but James Wan coming back to the horror genre, sign me up.
Yeah, of course.
We did. Oh, I forgot to mention my second one.
Yeah.
Is The Conjuring 3.
That's okay.
I like how to hide
That's-
this there.
That's okay.
We forgive you.
We'll be there. We will be there to watch The Conjuring 3 with you.
We will, yeah.
So, guys, thank you so much for sticking with us throughout this year. We've had a really good time. Of course, we always want to evolve, as I mentioned. We're very excited to bring you even more reviews and more videos. We want to get more into doing some editorial work, which, I had been doing previously this year, but we want to get more into that, just some more video essays. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your year. I hope you have a great New Year's. And, as always, have a very scary night, boys and ghouls.
I think we can all agree our New Year's resolution is to watch more horror movies, though.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, we'll be there.
I hadn't thought of that. That's a really good one. So,
yes.
And if I can say one final thing, go see Tom Hooper's Cats, because you will really, you will get some genuine stares from Tom Hooper's Cats.
Don't do it. No.
Do it.
No.
Cut.